Hey there, Bible buddies. I've got another Bible review for you today, and this one is a revised standard version done by Collin's Clear Type Press. Now, this particular edition is known as the Plantin Clear Type, and it was actually one that was a pretty popular model of the RSV. Now, like I said, Collins produced this one, but they did produce it for many other kind of publishers, I guess. So I might have some other ones to compare it to, maybe in a later video. But there are like several different companies, I guess, that kind of produced the same one, or maybe Collins produced it for other companies. So you'll see like a different kind of label here, but the kind of the guts, the insides, the book block are all the same across the board. So this is one that you'll see pop up pretty regularly on eBay, albeit it might not be labeled as a Collins, it might be labeled as a Thomas Nelson, it might be labeled as a I think there was another one that you said like Lutheran or something down here, by like Lutheran Publishing House. I think it might have been, and just some other editions that have been out and about. But certainly this is a pretty common RSV that you'll see floating around, and they can usually be had for a genuine leather one, like maybe $10 to $15, usually fairly inexpensive. So this is definitely a good way to go if you're looking for an RSV and you don't want to spend, $200 Skylar money. It's a good option. So yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at it. On the outside, it is just a black genuine leather. It does have a fairly nice grain, but it's kind of that standard kind of shiny leather of the time. You do have Holy Bible, and it is imprinted nicely into the cover there. It is kind of offset. It's not really centered or anything. On the spine, there is Holy Bible and then Revised Standard Version, and then Collins down here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 very, very, very faint rib indications. And then, that's kind of it. There's a perimeter line, also very faint. They must have not been pressing too hard. Whoever assembled this cover wasn't pressing very hard. There is a very fine and very light perimeter line. You can kind of see on the edge there, on the back as well. And the only thing of note on the back is down here, very tiny. There's a little flag. Let me try and get the light to reflect off of it. There you go. You can kind of see like the little flag, and I believe it says genuine leather. It's almost too small for me to read. Genuine leather, it says down there. So there's your stamp that it is a genuine pigskin, which in case you didn't know, most genuine leathers are pigskin. So oink oink. Probably not that, I always thought it was weird, like why would you produce a Bible and then wrap it in pigskin? Like one of the few animals that was like relatively unclean and like specifically spoken about. It just seems like a weird leather choice for me. But I'm not a Bible producer, so we'll just we'll move on. We do have some white head and tail bands there, or maybe at one point they were white. They've kind of yellowed over the ages, I would imagine. And you can see there was a gilt at some point. This Bible was kind of has seen some use, so the gilt is kind of worn off of this one. But it does kind of looks like that kind of lower quality gilt, not super shiny or anything like that, or at least in this state, it's not super shiny. I don't know if it would have been super shiny to begin with, but it's kind of worn off here on the corners on the edge there. And again, this one has seen some use. There is a single-sided satin ribbon here, and it is a little on the narrow side and kind of short for my liking, but kind of standard for the era, so to speak. We'll go ahead and get into it. And it does have a black paper paste down. This is that Saffiano look again, kind of the crisscross pattern there. I don't know how well my camera picks up that Saffiano look. Every time I look in post production, it's just blurry, a big blurry mess. But trust me, it's a textured paper. As far as the corner work goes, it is minimal at best. There is corner work there underneath the face down. I don't know why I show this to you guys. I always wonder who cares about the corner work of these old Bibles, but maybe somebody out there does. So we'll go ahead and get into the text. There we go. We have our end sheet, and then we have some thicker sheets here, not quite cardstock or anything like that, but there's two of them, and then we do have this very nice parchment presentation page there to Everest Arnold. Thank you, Everest Arnold, for your contribution to the channel there. Beautiful parchment. I love parchment paper. I'm a fan of that. Then we have, this is a kind of like thicker sheet, and you can see it has an illustration here, or at least a photo. There are color photos throughout, and in some of the less expensive versions of this edition, like synthetic covers, there were black and white photos, not color photos. So that's kind of one of those tells to see if it's a genuine leather version or a synthetic cover. Again, the synthetic ones will have black and white images, but there are images throughout. And then this paper it's a coated paper, but it doesn't feel like wax or anything like that. But you can tell it's definitely like a thicker coated sheet. And there's a little note here about the color photography. I'll show it to you guys. There you go. Then we have our title page, the Holy Bible, the Revised Standard Version, Collins Clear Type Press. In the back, we have our copyright information. And it does go way into the gutter there. And then a little additional information. And then at the bottom, we can see where it says Plantin clear type. We have our preface. And then our list of abbreviations down there for the footnotes. And we have this, just looks crazy to me. It's like everything's so scattered. I guess this is the table of contents. This is very poorly done table of contents. It's like, I don't know, I just get like a lot of like static trying to read this. It just seems like there's a lot going on. Then we have our subject index. Kind of weird that they have this at the beginning. And then we have our Old Testament title page. And the first book of Moses called Genesis, commonly called Genesis. And then you can see one of the issues here with this one, and this, I have a few editions of this RSV, and this seems to be kind of an issue with all of them. I mean, they're like right up to the gutter here. I mean, it is like as close into the gutter as you can possibly get. We'll go ahead and turn a page so you get a better feel for it. So there we are. It is and you can see here again, it's really in the gutter of the text. But we do have a double column paragraph setting. You have your book names and your chapters. Not really the range. You just kind of have the starting chapter and the ending chapter here and here. You have your page numbers in the top center. You have very short kind of running headers up at the top. There are cross-references and translator's footnotes down there at the bottom. And there does appear to be some kind of formatting for the poetic sections there. No drop caps or anything, just the kind of the chapter numbers as a double line and a drop cap there. I'll chunk through it. I'll show you guys maybe one of these images for a few of them as we go. In the wilderness, Selah. And we have the garden in Jerusalem. Now these are going to be, obviously these are current photographs. So this is just kind of current photography of these areas. I'm not too sure why they chose some of these things. Some of them seem a little random. Ruins of ancient Tyre. About Vale of Jezreel. I'm not sure if they kind of correlate. I'm assuming not, because this is the Golden Gate in Jerusalem. So I'm assuming they don't really correlate to where kind of what you're reading. Could be though, I guess. Jerusalem from the Mount of Olives. You can see here this page looks pretty beat up. This is the one that like stands out in this particular edition of mine. I guess we'll take a look at the poetry. Maybe we'll turn a couple of pages because this page is pretty beaten up. It looks like somebody was holding it and it probably got rained on because this page is pretty, warped. We'll take a closer look here at the poetry. Again, I get so tired of seeing this. I love it when poetry is formatted like poetry and they take the time to kind of even out the lines and make it look good. That is not the case here. It just looks like they let the line run on and then wherever it ended is where it ended. So you have a lot of single word lines, excuse me. But we'll take a look at the paper. The paper in these editions is maybe middle of the road. It's not like the worst stuff I've seen, but it's certainly not kind of the best stuff I've seen. You can see there is a little bit of show through kind of coming through here. I guess it's usable. Usable would be a good word for it. It's not like the super, like I said, it's not like the super best paper, but definitely not the worst I've seen. So there's Malachi. I'm going to the end of Malachi, the end of the Old Testament. We have the New Covenant, commonly called the New Testament. I wish these ribbons, they tend to like flip up like this. They drive me nuts. I gotta find a different way of handling them. Just storing them maybe, I guess. And we have the Gospel according to Matthew. More of the same, kind of red letter. Not kind of red letter. No, it's not red letter at all. Goodness. It is black letter, not kind of red letter. It is black letter. Black letter text throughout. So nothing in the way of reds coming through here. Now the print uniformity is pretty consistent throughout, which is a plus. I haven't seen any kind of places where it looks lighter in any area or darker in any area. If there is, it's very minute. So let's go ahead and get to the end. I'll show you some of the resources in the back there. See some of my favorite stuff poking through. I have like certain things that are just set favorites of mine, from over the years. And these drawings are like some of my favorite, hands down. All right, so here's the end of Revelation, and we do have some nice drawings. Very nice drawings. I love them. They're very dated. But I grew up with these drawings in my little, like my kid Bible, my childhood Bible. So I love it seeing these things. This brings back good old memories of me drawing like googly eyes on the eagle and stuff. Kids will be kids. So here we have some simple helps and visual aids to the understanding of the Bible. And then on the flip side of that, we have a table of contents. I'll let you guys see that, so we're not flipping through everything. We'll kind of chunk through it a little bit. There's like a time chart here, Bible history. The books of the Bible looks like some very short kind of, just like a very light kind of information about it. The title, the author, the setting, and then a brief little description of it. Then you have this kind of standard timeline that you've seen, I would imagine, from time to time. I feel like this has popped up a few times. It just kind of gives you some world history and biblical history kind of overlapped. And there are just a few helps, like it said. Famous Bible characters, famous Bible passages. This I always thought was cool, just as a quick reference. In case you're like, where was that story of, Lot and his wife? That kind of thing. Table of weights and measures. Then you have some more of these drawings. Oh, I always love these with the coins and the instruments. I always thought that was the coolest drawings. And a few more drawings here. And then the maps. Oh, the maps. Now, I can't say that these are my least favorite maps. I've certainly seen worse. But man, these are just such dated maps. And just the color choice was real. I don't know, almost reminds me of like clay or something. Very weird color choices for these palettes. Oh, let me get in frame. What? Yeah, quite a few maps back here. Not a ton, but enough. I'll show you this last one. There we are. And then after that, we just have a blank sheet, kind of wrapping it up. Another blank sheet, and then the only code we have down here says P4, J maybe, or I, so not very much to go off of there. And then we just have the flyleaf, and that's it. Kind of wraps up. Pretty straightforward edition. Again, if you're looking for the revised, the RSV, this might be a good way for you to go. It's a, good kind of mid-sized Bible. And like I said, the print is pretty uniform. The paper's all right. And for the price, if you're just kind of looking to get into the RSV, this might be a less expensive way to do it, Let me get you guys some measurements and go from there. So this one comes in at a whopping 7 3/4 inches tall by right about 5 and 1, 2, 3/8 of an inch wide by about 1 1/8 inches thick. It's not too bad. Good mid-size there. I'll take a look at the text size. Let's use the Z in Zechariah. I don't know what I'm expecting here. It'll surprise me. It looks to be about a 9-point versus Times New Roman for the uppercase. What's the lowercase? The M in common here. Yeah. Looks to be comparable to about a 9-point versus Times New Roman all around. So definitely a decent size, decent sized Bible, decent sized text. The gutter would be probably my only complaint, the text going into the gutter. And the leading is like the space in between the lines. It is a little bit tight. So you can see it definitely whenever there's like a kind of a D sender meeting with an A sender. There's only a very little bit of space between there. Take like the Y and they and the H and he. It's very tight there. So maybe the leading could be improved. If I were running things back in the 70s when this was produced, I might have increased the leading just a hair and gotten maybe a slightly better paper. But even looking now in 2 Chronicles here, the paper doesn't appear to be really that bad. And I don't know that it's like specifically line matched, but it does seem to match up pretty closely. I wonder if that's the case, if it has let's look back in the beginning where there's some running headers. I don't know where there weren't any running headers through there, or there none in the text. Am I just getting confused with the last Bible I just reviewed? No, I'm getting confused with the last Bible I just reviewed. So yeah, the lines are line matched simply just because of the fact that there's no kind of any kind of like weird deviation between the lines. So you do get line matching with this, which is nice, and it helps certainly with the paper, kind of the show through the paper there. So not a bad addition. Bible buddies, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please feel free to leave them down below. If you could like, comment, subscribe, all that cool YouTube stuff, it would be much appreciated. Until next time, bye.